Okay, what's going on, guys? My name is Garrett, and we're back with another video. We're about to go do some chest, probably throw in some shoulders, maybe a little bit of triceps. The only thing I'm really working for today is trying to hit 365 for a set of 2 to 4, hopefully twice. So yeah, that's the goal. We're gonna work up to 315, and probably once I do 365, probably a few back off sets with 315. Probably throw in some flies in there as well with the back off sets. It is my assumption. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. Maybe I won't even go to 365. I don't know. I haven't had any carbs today. Literally just hardly any. But no excuses. About to go get the work in, right? Got a little pre-workout. Shout out Pat. Gave me a bottle of pump fuel, or a tub of pump fuel for free, which is dope. It's one of the, I'd say, few pre-workouts that are actually dosed properly. So super nice. I like it a lot. It tastes really good. Drink this on the way. Do our warm-up, which will probably take 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll hop on the bench. Talk about my day. So my day's been pretty trash, to be honest. Go to pull into the parking lot at work, or the parking garage. Don't have my badge on me, so got to go park somewhere else. Run like 10 minutes just to be late to our morning meeting. One that I specifically needed to be at, but it's okay. So yeah, late to the meeting this morning, and then my 2 cases that I had for the day, both horrible. We did a laparoscopic hysterectomy, which took, I think, 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, which is basically unheard of. Most doctors, fast doctors, will get it done in about 45 minutes. And I don't know, it just took way longer than expected. And then the following case was just tubes and ovaries, and then a DNC and an ablation. And that took just as long, and neither of those cases are usually big cases, done relatively quickly. But today was a bit of a shit show. So what I've ate today, I've had 2 chicken breasts, 2 protein shakes, a cup of coffee, and a few fries. That was basically it. That's all I've ate today. I should have ate something right once I got home, but I ended up just passing out on the couch with my dogs, and I don't really want to go eat something right before. Mainly I didn't have anything to eat at my house. I needed some type of sugar. I really don't want to eat a complex carb right before I go work out. If I had some sugar available, I probably would have eaten it, like honey, a Gatorade, or even just like a tiny bit of candy, just to have a little bit of sugar in my system before I go and work out. I like it. So yeah, that was my day, and I guess I'll see you guys once I'm probably doing the warm-up. Voiceover should be a little bit faster. I need to start making technique videos, but for right now I'm kind of just recording my workouts, so not sure how much technique is going to go on today. Obviously you guys can see what I do, and take technique from there, and I'll try to do a little bit better on the voiceovers, explaining what I'm doing with my technique and why I'm doing it. One thing I do want to mention, just right off the rip is the breath work. I think that's the number one thing people mess up on. You can see, and a lot of people on YouTube will talk about going through how to do certain movements, and most of them are great. Like I've watched several YouTube videos that will teach you how to bench properly, squat properly, curl properly, do a number of different things, right? Something that nobody really talks about is the breath work aspect of the movement. So just for a little tidbit of information to start the video, basically for every movement that you're doing, especially when you're going heavy, you want as much oxygen in your lungs as possible, and you want to hold that in until you're past the sticking point of the rep, and basically you can finish the rep. That's when you're going to blow out or let out some air, and then you're going to take a deep breath in before you go back and try to hit the movement. You don't want to do 3 reps of a movement and then, let's just say you're benching, hold the bar up, and then take like another 2 breaths and try to do your 4th one. You'll be much weaker if you do it that way. So, and another thing I want to make a video on is spotting, because I hate how so many people spot. Luckily I've been able to find some good ones at Lifetime. And another thing, if somebody doesn't know how to spot, you got to tell them how you want them to spot you, right? So yeah, I don't know. I will see you guys in the next part of the video. Peace. Okay, what's going on, guys? Back with another workout. Warming up the back before we hit chest. Also going to warm up the core. Then we're going to get into some benching. I think you should always probably warm up your back before getting into a heavy chest movement, because whenever you're hitting a heavy chest movement, your stabilizing muscle is your back. And when you have a strong back, it's much easier to press. So if you get some blood into your back before pressing, generally you're going to be stronger. So something to try. And I would definitely recommend warming up your back and your shoulders before hitting chest day. Probably a good idea. I try to do abs every day, so that's what I'm doing here. Some core work. I'll do hanging leg raises and planks mainly. And when I'm doing these, I swing my feet kind of far backwards just because I'm trying to get a better stretch in my lower abs. My lower abs are what I'm working on when I'm doing this. Obviously, I'm hitting my entire core, but when I'm going down and doing the stretch, it's for that reason. I think we do 2 sets, 2 or 3 warm-ups here. And it's the same warm-up every time that I'm in the gym. It's some form of pull-ups, push-ups, and planks. When I do my planks, I'm always breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth. And that's what I consider like 1 repetition. So I'm curious how long I'm actually planking when I'm doing that. I don't know. For years, I used to just go straight into benching without basically any warm-up. Walk into the gym, and first thing I would do would be hopping on the bench, and I would just basically do a lot of warm-up sets before going for a heavy set. And then as the years went on, I started doing more of a dynamic warm-up rather than just hopping on the bench. And I don't think I'll ever go back to not doing a warm-up before benching, just because I don't know, don't want to hurt anything, want to be safe, and I want to be strong. So knees to chest here. A little bit of a swing. Probably could do better there. This is one of my favorite rowing machines at my gym. Hammer strength, able to actually add plates to the side. And I feel like it's a good, I don't know, I get a good squeeze, and that's where I want to be squeezing when I'm benching. Really pretty short movement, because I'm squeezing the upper part of my back, or trying to. I feel like I'm, I don't know, pulling through the lower half, but trying to finish the squeeze like in the traps, basically. But honestly, it's just warming up my whole back. You know, it's a great angle to do a pull from. Single armed. Going decently heavy on these. 2.5 plates. And then if you guys notice when I'm doing these, when I'm finishing the rep, my shoulder blades are basically even or in line with each other. And then when I'm stretching, I'm rounding my shoulders forward. And then when you're doing those, you also want to pull with your elbows. Probably one of the best things you can do for your back if you're a beginner and you don't really know how to pull weight. Focus on pulling through your elbows. Right here, we did a warm-up set with just the bar. Prior to this set, we did a warm-up set with just the bar. And we'll go from 1 plate to 2 plate to 3 plates. And then go on to 365. Another thing, you'll notice how I get into position. I always sit behind the bar and then place my feet, get my hand grip, and then go under. You'll also notice I do some breath work right before I get into position, because it's a good idea to have as much oxygen in your body as possible before starting the lift. Maybe not as much as possible, but a whole lot. And then when you're going down, you want to be not holding. When you're going down, you're holding your breath. And then I would say breathe out a little bit past your sticking point before taking another breath. And then try to keep that consistent through your reps. So today we did a pause set with 225, an explosive set with 225. Now we're going to do a pause set with 315, and then an explosive set with 315. And let's see how these look. I think, I don't know, maybe too long of a pause on the first one and that one. I don't need to be pausing quite so long, so maybe a little bit faster. And then you guys notice that I use suicide grip. Kind of a scary name for it, to be honest. But I'm just, really comfortable at this point using that. When I wrap my thumbs around the bar, it's, awkward for me, hurts my wrists a little bit. So yeah, I don't use it. I don't use a neutral grip for just about any movement. Would you say that's a neutral grip? Wrapping the thumbs around the bar? That's what I meant by it, at least. 365. Pretty disappointed here that I didn't get the second rep all the way up on my own, but it's fine. And this was probably the hardest I got stuck, was on that third rep right there. The next 2 sets feel a little bit better. I feel like I'm able to keep my strength through the movements pretty well. So I think I should be able to get 365 for 4 within, I don't know, I'd say 2 months. 2 months would be my goal. If I do it before that, I'd probably be surprised. And then my goal is to do 365 by 4, and then that's when I'll start working for the 405 by 1. But that was the whole goal of the strength training portion of the workout, was working with 365. So I've done 2 sets, and now we're going to do one more set, which is going to be a set of 2 supersetted with 315 for a set of 5 or 6. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Let's find out. I do the same routine every time I get onto the bench. I'll sit behind it, get my grip, do a little bit of breathing, and then you'll notice I won't move my feet much. Now just like slight adjustments with the scapula, and then a press. Deep breath in, push out. Deep breath in, out. So supersetting this, I thought that going into the set, after taking off the 25, that 315 would feel pretty easy. But when I took this off, it didn't even feel like I took that much weight off. So I think that's probably from a lack of carbs that I had in me, just lacking a little bit of muscular endurance. That's, my fault. But my cafeteria didn't have any rice that day, and my go-to is always 2 chicken breasts and some rice. But they didn't have it, so all they had was fries. And I had I think 5, not many, just because that's not what I want to be eating for a carb source. So done with the strength training portion of the workout. Now we're doing some hypertrophy work. Starting out decently heavy, and doing these, I'm doing really just focusing on the stretch, time under tension. The pump wasn't too good. I'd say just from the lack of carbs. So really focusing on just controlling the weight instead. Stretch and a squeeze. People want to overcomplicate working out all the time. Once you develop a mind-muscle connection, it's really pretty easy. And the more you do it, the more you develop the mind-muscle connection. Probably at a point, after a few years of lifting, you might not get that much stronger of a mind-muscle connection. But throughout the first couple years that you start lifting, and you start understanding where you want to squeeze for each movement and where you want to stretch for each movement, I would say, first off, it would be lifting turns into a lot more fun. And then, I don't know, you can just kind of adjust your technique to what you want to be doing. And always be open to trying new movements as well. As long as it's not hurting you in any way, then go for it. And then just be careful when you're doing it. Start off light with basically whatever you're doing, and then work up to a working weight. So I'd say the strength-based movements for chest would be barbell bench, dumbbell bench, and then dumbbell incline, barbell incline. I'd say you got the 4 options. That's what you should be doing your strength-based movements with for chest. I feel like a good one for beginners to start out with is dumbbell incline. I think a lot of people can see quite a bit of progression pretty fast. I myself prefer barbells over dumbbells. I like doing dumbbells for my hypertrophy work, mainly because I don't like machines too much. So I like barbell for strength training and dumbbells for hypertrophy. But yeah, you can still do a lot of strength work with dumbbells. Like you can do so much. Right here doing some flies. So another thing I'll mention about flies is like you can grab a really lightweight and have your arms basically straight out to your sides and then come up and squeeze your chest, and that's fine. Or you can get a heavier weight, and the heavier you go, you just bring the dumbbells in closer to your body. And you're going to get a stretch regardless of what you're doing. And as long as you're getting a stretch and a contraction, it's the whole point of the workout. So you don't need to be perfect when you're doing flies. You don't need to be perfect when you're doing really any movement. As long as you can feel the stretch and the squeeze, you're okay. It's just about the consistency over time. And then as you're doing it over time, you learn better and better technique, or how you want to squeeze, where you want to squeeze, different things. So definitely not the only way to do these. For example, you could bring the bottoms of the dumbbells together to finish the contraction a little bit tighter. And maybe I should have done that just because I wasn't getting the best pump. Here, I would imagine a lot of people will criticize this. I do this to squeeze the upper portion of my chest. And obviously I have a swing to it because if I was to hold 40-pound dumbbells straight up with my palms up, that'd be impossible. I wouldn't be able to do it. Maybe for a second, but as I go across my body and squeeze the upper portion of my chest, I'm able to get a deep contraction. So this is actually one of my favorite movements for chest. Not a beginner workout. I wouldn't suggest doing that if you're just starting. But if you have a good mind-muscle connection and you have a pump, that exercise is, something to maybe throw in. Because you can go extremely heavy with them too. Like I was using 37.5s there, but if I wanted to use 60s and then just go a little bit lower on the rep and maybe a little bit more across the body, you can still get a really good contraction doing that. And if that's what I'm looking for, then it's okay. Or the other way, you could do. Actually, you probably wouldn't be able to do 15 or 20 pounds. It'd be a little bit light, just because I don't want to isolate the shoulders when I'm doing the movement, right? The purpose, obviously, I'm working my shoulders when I'm doing this, the front delt in particular. But the goal of this is to get this squeeze in the upper portion of the chest. So right at the top, squeeze in the chest. And then not really too much control on the way down. I'm not focused on the eccentric part of the workout or the movement. Mainly just the concentric part. And I feel like some exercises are more concentric than others and some are more eccentric than others. So this one, a little bit more concentric, or at least it is for me. And if you have a good mind-muscle connection, and a good pump, exercise I would throw in. Not if you're a beginner. So to finish the workout, hopping on one of my favorite machines. And you'll notice not really a complicated workout, nothing special about it. Hopping on the bench and then doing some dumbbells and now finishing with some cables. On the cables, we're going to do 3 sets, supersetted with dips. And, you know, I say hypertrophy work is subjective. I could have went straight from my strength training onto this machine and finished my workout just doing that. Just like, I don't know, there's a lot of different ways that you can do your hypertrophy work. And I think it's almost entirely subjective. But you want to be working with a weight that you can press, or not press, for virtually any movement. Hypertrophy work should be, I'd say, no less than 8 reps, 8 plus. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of workouts that I've done in my life where I'm doing 60 to 100 reps of something. So you can go extremely high when you're doing hypertrophy work. Right here, switching the cables. So we started high to midline is where I was finishing. Now we're doing midline to midline, maybe a little bit higher on those. And then we're going to do low to high. Or, I don't know, low to midline probably is where I'm finishing the movement. But you can also do, you know, cable flies single-armed, and they feel great. And I'll probably show those at some point. It's also one of my favorite chest workouts. But, you know, nothing too complicated. Did some pressing, did some flies. Nothing crazy about the workout. It's just the consistency, you know, of going and actually doing it. So right here, I'm actually pretty dead, pretty tired. Probably should have been finishing these reps a little bit higher. But it's all right, you know. Still getting the work in. It's the whole goal. It's the whole point. A little bit of a swing to those at the end. And I think this is going to be the last set of dips. And that'll be the chest workout. Another thing I'll mention is if you want to get a bigger stretch on your chest when you're doing the dips, is bring your feet out a little bit, like behind you. If you want it to be tricep dominated, just let your feet go almost straight down. All right, peace. Okay, just finished up the chest workout and felt pretty good. You know, 365 felt better than it did last week, and that's kind of all I was looking for. That's why I did 3 sets. I felt like my second and third set felt better than my first one. I'm not sure why. I would guess that I'm just like, I don't know, more used to the weight. Maybe I should do a warm-up set with 365, I'm thinking, or a set between 315 and 365. Not entirely sure how I want to go about it, but my goal is to get 365 by 4 before working to 405. So yeah, today was pretty good. I didn't like having no carbs in my system. I felt pretty strong at the beginning of the workout, and you know, did the strength-based portion of my workout pretty fine, right? But once I was done with the strength training and I go to hypertrophy work, which is just pushing blood into the muscle, I'm able to get a deep contraction for like the first few reps of the set. But then after that, you kind of just feel flat, and that's just from the lack of carbs that I have in me. So that part's kind of shitty. I would have liked to get a better pump at the end of my chest day, but as long as my strength-based portion of my workout is fine, then, you know, I'm okay with it. I didn't do shoulders or triceps just because there was a million people at the gym and I didn't want to go back to the dumbbell section of the gym. So I'll probably just end up hitting those tomorrow or the day after that, or the day after that, you know, it doesn't really matter to me. So yeah, that was the workout. Didn't sauna or do anything. The last clip you guys saw was the end of my workout. Just now leaving, and I need to get some carbs. I need to get some carbs in me. Probably head to Chipotle, honestly. I think that's gonna be the play. Yeah, so that was the workout. One thing that I don't like is, you know, I don't care if, like, I'm getting more comfortable recording my workouts. Not that big of a deal to me. Whoever's watching or whoever's recording, you know, I'm there to work out, right? I've done it for 12 years of my life now. So like when I'm in the middle of my sets, I don't think about anything other than the set that I'm working on. So that's, you know, pretty comforting. The camera doesn't really bother me too much. I don't care who watches me in the gym. I'm there to get the workout in, and that's what I'm gonna do. But one thing I don't like is people will stop and purposely walk around the camera to be nice, and then you feel like such a douche, right? You know, if anybody ever sees this video and sees me recording in the gym, always walk in front of the camera if you need to walk in front, you know? I was just doing the flies and the dips, and there were probably like 2, maybe 3 people that wanted to walk across but purposely walked around just to be nice. I'm just like, dude, like, walk in front of the camera, you know? I'd say that's probably the biggest thing about recording right now. You know, I don't necessarily want to record, but definitely getting more comfortable doing it. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get 365 by 4 next week, in a month from now, somewhere along those lines. But I'll keep you guys posted. About to get Chipotle, and then hopefully have this video up tomorrow. Yeah, and I think that's it. I'm gonna go home, hang out with my dogs for a little bit, and then get ready for work in the morning.